I bet you didn't know how eerie a junkyard can be at night. I always came to this junkyard. It wasn't far from home, just a little ways down a rough dirt road hidden in the woods. At night, it was quiet, peaceful, too peaceful. I didn't mind. The isolation felt comforting, and I always found what I needed. This time, though, something felt off. The air was heavier than usual. I could smell the damp earth and rust. It was so still. Almost too still. Almost too still. Almost too still. There wasn't even the usual chirping of insects, the rustling of animals, just silence. My flashlight flickered, and for a second, I thought I saw something move in the distance. I shook it off, telling myself it was just my mind playing tricks. Everything seemed normal at first. I was focused on pulling parts off an old car, the sound of metal scraping against metal echoing in the air. But then, I heard something, a scraping sound, far off but unmistakable. It sounded like metal dragging across the ground. I froze. My heart began to pound, but I didn't move. I told myself it was just an animal, maybe a raccoon or something. But then the sound came again, closer this time. My grip tightened on the wrench I was holding. I turned, shining the light into the darkness, but there was nothing, just the rusted cars and piles of scrap. At first, it was just a sound in the distance. But then it started getting closer. Footsteps? No, too heavy for footsteps. More like something dragging itself along the ground. The closer it got, the harder it was to ignore. I tried to convince myself it was just the wind, but the air was still. I could feel my pulse in my throat now. The flashlight flickered again, casting weird, long shadows that seemed to stretch out towards me. I started looking around, feeling like I wasn't alone, like there was something watching me. I'd never felt this way before. This wasn't just paranoia. I knew something wasn't right. I kept working, trying to keep my mind busy. But the noise kept coming closer. I could almost hear it now, the drag of something scraping against the dirt. And then, footsteps. Not an animal's. These were deliberate, slow, heavy. I glanced around, my stomach twisting into knots. The flashlight's beam danced across the rusted cars, the jagged edges of scrap metal. But nothing was there. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting, watching. I should have left. I should have just left right then, but I didn't. I kept working, my hands trembling as I tightened bolts and pulled at broken parts. The noises stopped. A horrible, suffocating silence took its place. I thought maybe I had imagined it, that it was nothing. But then, the whisper, low, almost a growl, just behind me. I spun around, my heart leaping into my throat. Nothing. I felt my skin crawl. There was something there. I didn't know what, but I could feel it. I could hear its breathing now, slow and steady, like it was waiting for me to make a move. I couldn't take it anymore. My mind was racing, adrenaline surging through me. I dropped everything. My tools, the parts I had scavenged. I didn't care. I just had to get out of there. I turned and bolted, not looking back. My legs burned, but I couldn't stop. The darkness was closing in, the shadows reaching for me, but I didn't dare slow down. My chest ached with every breath as I ran through the junkyard, the ground uneven beneath me. I heard it behind me now. Footsteps, dragging closer and closer. I had to make it out of the woods. I had to. I couldn't look back. I don't know how I made it out of there. All I remember is running. Running until the woods were behind me, until I could finally hear the distant sound of the road again. I didn't stop until I was safely in my car, locking the doors. I didn't even look back. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was ever real. But I swear, something was there. And I will never, ever go back to that junkyard again. Thanks for listening, and keep watching my channel for more true paranormal stories.